Testing 1, 2. Yahweh.
Where they are gathered in my name, I'll be with them. Although you are scattered, I'm drawing you back to love you again. So come unto me, my child, and I'll give you peace. Then you will be B'nai Shalom. B'nai Shalom, children of peace. B'nai Shalom, on Yeshua we'll feast. B'nai Shalom, children of peace. B'nai Shalom, through Yeshua we'll be B'nai Shalom. Love one another as you have seen me love you. My sister, my brother, do as I command you, and come unto me, my child, and I'll give you peace. Then you will be B'nai Shalom. B'nai Shalom, children of peace. B'nai Shalom, on Yeshua we'll feast. B'nai Shalom, children of peace. B'nai Shalom, through Yeshua we'll be B'nai Shalom, children of peace. B'nai Shalom, children of peace.
Hallelujah. Blessed be the name of Yahweh. And yes, Shabbat Shalom to all of you out there. And we praise Yahweh for it is officially, actually, quite officially, a new month. Yes, it is a new month. And we are praising Yahweh for a new month because that means we're another month closer to Passover coming up. That would be about 2.5 months from now, so possibly. We're going to confirm that with the barley reports coming from Israel. But we were, obviously, almost the entire nation under cloud cover. And so it made it kind of hard for us to get any new moon reports here. The only places not under cloud cover right now are Texas, parts of Texas, parts of southern Arkansas, little gaps here and there, central to southern Mississippi, most of Alabama, and then parts of everything but the southern southeast part of Georgia, and clouds all the way out until you get to southern New Mexico, Arizona, and California. So, but I have some news for you. I did call it the 11th month for a reason. And the reason for that is they were able to spot the new moon in Jerusalem. So we were anticipating that based on the moon charts. If you don't know what those are, check out EliYah.com/calendar and click on the calendar link there, and you'll be able to see the new moon charts, moon visibility charts, I should say. And I got a photograph. If you switch over to the PowerPoint computer there, Ariana, and you'll see a photograph of the new moon spotted in Jerusalem, actually in northern Israel. So, yes, praise Yahweh. In Israel, they were able to spot, and that's a photograph of the new moon there. So, exciting stuff. And so we're calling it 11th month. We were expecting them to be able to see the moon in Israel. And mainly because of the moon charts. But that's what we were expecting, and it happened. So, and I think for them, it might have even been the 30th day anyway. So, sorry, what? You just have Yahweh as King on that screen. Okay, just a minute, and I'll switch it over. Just switch back to the camera for now, and then I'll get that moved over to the other screen. My mistake. There we go. Photograph of the new moon in Israel. Officially. And it, should be visible through most of the world. Start going outward to, let me see here. Parts of the world not likely to see it would be about the central China upward and north and eastward, and also into Central Europe and Northern Europe. Not able to see it there, but here we're expecting visibility all the way up into Canada, and so we're not surprised that it's seen in Israel. It's supposed to be seen in Israel. So, and that's based on the moon charts, which I found actually we've been doing this several years now, and found them to be really pretty much on point. And doesn't mean they predict visibility every time, because if it's in a place where you need optical aid to find the moon, or you need something very, very clear conditions to find the moon, you may not see it. So, but if you're in the solid green, I've never seen one time where the moon was not seen when it was in the solid green there. So again, that's EliYah.com/calendar. You can check that out. And then, as far as the feast dates coming up, everything's dependent upon the barley reports. But on that same page, EliYah.com/calendar, on that page, you're going to click the calendar link. That's the study. And then click the calendar link where it says download or request a printed copy of Yahweh's calendar here. You'll see the feast dates depending upon the barley reports in Israel, which we think probably will be visible by, see barley there, Aviv barley, by the 12th. So if so, then Passover Day will be the 25th. Feast of Unleavened Bread, the 26th to the 1st of what's called April. That's, by the way, March 25th. And then what the world calls May 19th. And September 5th, Shavuot and Feast of Trumpets. And then Day of Atonements on the 14th of September. And these tabernacles on 19th through 25th of September, last great day on the 26th. So we'll be pretty much earlier feasts this year and warmer for those of you in But it's one of those controversial years. Some people who choose to go by the equinox, setting the new year, they're going to be a month later. So we'll see what happens. But I can tell you, like somebody asked me today, what are your thoughts on the equinox setting the new year? I mean, I know where they're getting that. You know, they go by Genesis 1:14. It says that the stars, the moon, the sun, and such are for the setting of the new year, which I get it. But problem is the Genesis 1:14 never tells us anything about equinox. In fact, there is no such word equinox in the entire Bible. And since there is no word that means equinox in the Bible, you have to go outside the Bible to find Yahweh's calendar. And that's just not something I'm comfortable with. He says in Deuteronomy 12 tells us, the very last few verses, whatever I command, don't add, don't take away. And so I would have to add to something he commanded in order to go with an equinox or go with a dark moon, a conjunction moon. You need a formula to find a conjunction, a very complex mathematical formula. And as far as, what he did say was observe, watch for, shamar, guard the new moon of the Aviv, or the new renewal or renewed moon of the Aviv, Chodesh, which we know means has to do with the moons because of 1 Kings chapter 8 and other places. So we go with that. And if you don't understand what in the world I'm talking about, please watch the 4 videos on Yahweh's calendar, and that'll inform you as to all the details. And sadly, there's some division, some disagreement on his timing. But one thing's for sure, I want to be, when he finds me observing his calendar on the final day, and I say, well, I thought I saw your calendar here, 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 and here in the scriptures, then I don't think he'll find fault with me if I made a mistake or if I was off, because I was truly trying to find it in scripture. But if I have to go outside of scripture to find his calendar, he's going to be asking me, why are you adding to my scriptures to find my calendar? So I don't want to do that. Anyway, we were able to get confirmation of the new moon in the country of Israel. And if you're just joining us, we got a photograph there of that new moon being seen, coming from Israel. And so that's good enough for me, because if it's seen there, it definitely would be visible here. But there are times when we might see it here where it was impossible to be seen in Israel. And so because as the moon progresses in its orbit, more and more light kind of peeks around the right side of the moon there. And so able to more easily see it. So yes, so we are in the 11th month of Yahweh's calendar. Not too many biblical events occurred. There are a couple we're going to go over today, but a pretty empty month as far as biblical events occurring during this month. So let's go ahead and take a break here and go with Psalm 128 from the library. And then before we do that, let's go ahead and sound the shofar. Praise Yahweh. Praise Yahweh.
trust in Yahweh are like Mount Zion. Those who trust in Yahweh are like Mount Zion. They cannot be moved. They cannot be moved. They cannot be moved. They cannot be moved. From this time and forever, as long as the moon keeps time, you stand before me, the apple of my eye. You will not be moved. 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 And as the mountains surround Jerusalem, so Yahweh surrounds us. So His love enfolds us. So Yahweh indwells us. We cannot be moved. We cannot be moved. We cannot be moved. We will not be moved. Praise to Yahweh, who lives forever. He cannot be moved. He cannot be moved. He cannot be moved. Those who trust in Yahweh are like Mount Zion. Those who trust in Yahweh are like Mount Zion. Trust in Yahweh. Trust in Yahweh. In Yahweh. Trust in Yahweh. In Yahweh.
Blessed be the name of Yahweh. Every day, He is Elohim. His calendar is the original and the best. And we love it. We love tracking it. We like gathering for it. We like honoring Him on this day. And after all, one day, when Yeshua comes, He's not going to be saying, okay, what calendar did Julius Caesar invent in 46 BC? We're all going to gather for the new month, in the month of January, named after Janus, the son of the goddess Janus. No, He's going to say, all the world come to my new moons and my feast days and my Sabbaths. And so we pay close attention to Yahweh's calendar around here. We like to keep our attention on it, and this helps us to keep our attention on it, because I'm pretty sure as the last days unfold, it's not going to be anything to do with the calendar of man, especially a man who was a demon-worshiping emperor of Rome in 46 BC. It's going to be his calendar he came up with, not the one man tried to create as a competitive counter. He who owns time claims to be having primacy. And so we know Yahweh holds time, he has primacy, and so we follow his demarcations of time and not the devil inspired calendar of the world. And so don't like you even say these words called January or February, March. March is after the god of war, Mars. Yeah, believe it or not. So we're going to go with his calendar. And so looking here at the 11th month of Yahweh's calendar, if you're looking for the new moon, take a gander at it by seeing this little crescent in the sky like we saw earlier. Within 30 minutes to an hour after sunset, look just to the left of where the sun had set, and you'll, if you got clear sky, should see it tonight pretty easily. So first text we're going to look at, Zechariah chapter 1 and verse 7, on the 24th day of the 11th month, which is the month Shabbat. In the second year of Darius, the word of Yahweh came to Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, the son of Iddo, the prophet. And so this is an event taking place here on this 11th month. This is the 24th day of the 11th month. And Shabbat in the Hebrew is not the same as what you might think is the Shabbat, as in Shabbat. This is Shabbat as in the first syllable is very, very short. It's not a Shah, it's just a Sh. Shabbat, Shabbat, like that. And so that's different than Sabbath, as you can see here, although it shares two letters. The third letter is different here in this text, in the actual Hebrew text. This is a Tav, and up here is a Tet, two different letters, and so it is distinguished by this letter here and this letter here. And of course the vowel points, Shabbat, and then Shabbat. Moving on, so in verse 8 of Zechariah 1, I saw by night, and behold, a man riding on a red horse, and it stood among the myrtle trees in the hollow. And behind him were horses, red, sorrel, and white. And I said, my master, what are these? So the angel who talked with me said to me, I will show you what they are. And the man who stood among the myrtle trees answered and said, these are the ones whom Yahweh has sent to walk to and fro throughout the earth. So they answered the angel of Yahweh, who stood among the myrtle trees, and said, we have walked to and fro throughout the earth, and behold, all the earth is resting quietly. Resting quietly. Why is it resting quietly? Let's continue to read. And the angel of Yahweh answered and said, O Yahweh of hosts, how long will you not have mercy on Jerusalem and on the cities of Yehudah, against which you were angry these 70 years? And Yahweh answered the angel who talked to me with good and comforting words. So the angel who spoke with me said to me, proclaim, saying, thus says Yahweh of hosts, I am zealous for Jerusalem and for Zion with a great zeal. I am exceedingly angry with the nations at ease. For I was a little angry, and they helped, but with evil intent. So the ones that were helping him to judge the nation of Israel, he helped them to do that, but they were doing it with evil intent. So therefore, thus says Yahweh, I am returning to Jerusalem with mercy. My house shall be built in it, says Yahweh of hosts, and a surveyor's line shall be stretched out over Jerusalem. Again proclaim, saying, thus says Yahweh of hosts, my cities shall again spread out through prosperity. Yahweh will again comfort Zion, and will again choose Jerusalem. Then I raised my eyes and looked, and there were 4 horns. And I said to the angel who talked with me, "What are these?" So he answered me, "These are the horns that have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem." Then Yahweh showed me 4 craftsmen. And I said, "What are these coming to do?" So he said, "These are the horns that scattered Judah, so that no one can lift up his head, but the craftsmen are coming to terrify them, to cast out the horns of the nations that lifted up their horn against the land of Judah, to going back here, sorry, to scatter it. So, and they did, they scattered. Then I raised my eyes and looked, and behold, a man with a measuring line in his hand. So I said, "Where are you going?" And he said to me, "To measure Jerusalem, to see what is its width and what is its length." And there was an angel who talked with me going out. Another angel was coming out to meet him, who said to him, "Run, speak to this young man, saying, Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls, because of the multitude of men and livestock in it. For I, says Yahweh, will be a wall of fire all around her, and I will be the glory in her midst. Up, up, flee from the land of the north, says Yahweh, for I have spread you abroad like the 4 winds of heaven." Says Yahweh. "Up, Zion, escape, you who dwell with the daughter of Babylon. For thus says Yahweh of hosts, he sent me after glory to the nations which plunder you, for he who touches you touches the apple of his eye. For surely I will shake my hand against them, and they shall become spoil for their servants. Then you will know that Yahweh of hosts has sent me. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for behold, I am coming and will dwell in your midst, says Yahweh. Many nations shall be joined to Yahweh in that day, and they shall become my people, and I will dwell in your midst. Then you will know that Yahweh of hosts has sent me to you. And Yahweh will take possession of Yehudah as his inheritance in the Holy Land, and will again choose Jerusalem. Be silent, all flesh, before Yahweh, for he is aroused from his holy habitation. So this time marks a promise given to Israel of restoration, a promise of restoration. And it's a lot more here. It goes all the way to chapter 7, but we don't have time to read all of that. But you should read that sometime this evening, tomorrow. Continue to read. They include prophecies about Yeshua being the Messiah. In fact, Zechariah 6:12 predicts the Messiah's name would be Yeshua. And so I do see a connection here between what Yahweh is promising in these chapters and the only other instance where an event is mentioned in the 11th month, and that would be Deuteronomy. Actually, tonight begins this anniversary of when Moshe began to speak to this new generation of Israelites that was in the wilderness. And so, and those words he spoke became the book of Deuteronomy, or in Hebrew, Devarim, meaning words. And so what he did here was this, with this new generation, he just gave them a full review, or like a review or a synopsis or a summary of the Torah, and began to give them commands, probably commands he knew they would benefit from by hearing them. And so let's move now into Deuteronomy chapter 1. These are the words which Moshe spoke to all Israel on this side of the Jordan in the wilderness, in the plain opposite Suf, between Paran, Tophel, Laban, Hazarot, and Dizahab. It is 11 days' journey from Horeb by way of Mount Seir to Kadesh Barnea. Now it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first day of the month, and so that's beginning tonight and tomorrow, that Moshe spoke to the children of Israel according to all that Yahweh had given him as commandments to them. After he had killed Sihon, king of Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, who dwelt at Ashtaroth in Edrei, on this side of the Jordan in the land of Moab, Moshe began to explain this law, saying, Yahweh our Elohim spoke to us in Horeb, saying, You have dwelt long enough at this mountain. And so the entire book of Deuteronomy actually is basically something that he spoke at this time. He says, Turn and take your journey and go to the mountains of the Amorites, to all the neighboring places in the plain, and the mountains in the lowland, in the south on the seacoast, to the land of the Canaanites, and to Lebanon, as far as the great river, the river Euphrates. See, I have set the land before you. Go in and possess the land which Yahweh swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give to them and their descendants after them. And I spoke to you at that time, saying, I alone am not able to bear you. Yahweh, your mighty one, has multiplied you, and here you are today as the stars of heaven in multitude. May Yahweh, Elohim of your fathers, make you 1,000 times more numerous than you are, and bless you as he has promised you. How can I alone bear your problems and your burdens and your complaints? Choose wise, understanding, and knowledgeable men from among your tribes, and I will make them heads over you. And you answered me and said, The thing which you have told us to do is good. So I took the heads of your tribes, wise and knowledgeable men, and made them heads over you, leaders of thousands, leaders of hundreds, leaders of 50s, leaders of 10s, and officers for your tribes. Then I commanded your judges at that time, saying, Hear the cases between your brethren, and judge righteously between a man and his brother, or the stranger who is with him. You shall not show partiality in judgment. You shall hear the small as well as the great. You shall not be afraid in any man's presence, for the judgment is Elohim's. The case which is too hard for you, bring to me, and I will hear it. And I commanded you at that time all the things which you should do. So we departed from Horeb and went through all the great and terrible wilderness which you saw on the way to the mountains of the Amorites, as Yahweh our Elohim commanded us. Then we came to Kadesh Barnea. And I said to you, You have come to the mountains of the Amorites, which Yahweh our Elohim is giving us. Look, Yahweh your mighty one has set the land before you. Go up and possess it. As Yahweh Elohim of your fathers has spoken to you, do not fear or be discouraged. And every one of you who came near to me said, Let us send men before us, and let them search out the land for us, and bring back word to us of the way by which we should go up, and of the cities into which we shall come. The plan pleased me well, so I took 12 of your men, 1 man from each tribe, and they departed and went up into the mountains, and came to the valley of the skull, and spied it out. They also took some of the fruit of the land in their hands, and brought it down to us, and they brought back word to us, saying, It is a good land, which Yahweh your Elohim is giving us. Nevertheless, you would not go up, but rebelled against the command of Yahweh your mighty one, and you complained in your tents, and said, Because Yahweh hates us, he has brought us out of the land of Egypt to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites to destroy us. Where can we go up? Our brethren have discouraged our hearts, saying, The people are greater and taller than we. The cities are great and fortified up to heaven. Moreover, we have seen the sons of the Anakim there. And I said to you, Do not be terrified or afraid of them. Yahweh your mighty one who goes before you, he will fight for you, according to all that he did for you in Egypt before your eyes. In the wilderness where you saw how Yahweh your mighty one carried you, as a man carries his son, in all the way that you went until you came to this place. Yet for all that, you did not believe Yahweh your mighty one, who went in the way before you to search out a place for you to pitch your tents, to show you the way you should go, in the fire by night and the cloud by day. And Yahweh heard the sound of your words and was angry. and took an oath, saying, Surely not one of these men of this evil generation shall see that good land of which I swore to give to your fathers. Except Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, he shall see it, and to him and his children I am giving the land in which he walked, because he wholly followed Yahweh. Yahweh also was angry with me for your sake, saying, Even you shall not go in there. Joshua the son of Nun, who stands before you, he shall go in there. Encourage him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit it. Moreover, your little ones and your children, who you say will be victims, who today have no knowledge of good and evil, they shall go in there. To them I will give it, and they shall possess it. But as for you, turn and take your journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. Then you answered and said to me, We have sinned against Yahweh. We will not go up and fight, just as Yahweh our Elohim commanded us. And when every one of you had girded on his weapons of war, you are ready to go up into the mountain. Yahweh said to me, Tell them, do not go up to fight, nor fight, for I am not among you, lest you be defeated before your enemies. So I spoke to you, yet you would not listen, but rebelled against the command of Yahweh, and presumptuously went up into the mountain. And the Amorites who dwelt in that mountain came out against you, and chased you as bees do, and drove you back from Seir to Hormah. Then you returned and wept before Yahweh, but Yahweh would not listen to your voice, nor give ear to you. So you remain in Kadesh many days, according to the days that you spent there. And so there's similarities between this and what we see in Zechariah, in that they're on the cusp of being able to go into this land. Zechariah, which would be the second time coming back to the land, and this here in Deuteronomy chapter 1 would be the first time. And so the 11th month, I don't know, maybe that was when Yahweh called Moshe out. It's hard to say when he was actually called. And so there might even be a correlation there. But we see there's these patterns that take place as we go through the calendar. You start seeing these patterns, and sometimes they line up with events in your own life. We see that what happened here with the generation that came out of Egypt, and Yahweh saved them by the blood of the Lamb, but they did not believe that Yahweh loved them. They believed that Yahweh hated them, and he had a plan to take them into this promised land and kill them there, so they would be destroyed by these Amorites and so on in the land. And so they did not trust in the promises of Yahweh. Now, for these men to go out and be spies and to check out the land, I think would be a good thing if they came back with an honest report, and a report about faith. And then for the joy set before them, oh, this land is wonderful, and I can hardly wait to go there. And that be an encouragement to them to endure whatever trials and temptations they had in the wilderness. And so, but what happened was, well, we know what happened. We just read it. They gave a bad report. They said Yahweh hates us. He's just bringing us there to kill us. All is gloom, all is doom. We have no hope. There is no joy set before us. There's only death, and our children will be victimized, and because Yahweh hates us. That was their report. And it's not all that different in our world today. Think about it. What do atheists believe? There is no hope. There is no hope of a better land. There's no hope of a better future. When you die, you die. And you and your children will die in this earth that is given to us, and we're not going to go beyond the grave. And so they try to discourage us, just as these spies try to discourage us, those atheists and others who don't believe in the promises of Yahweh try to discourage us. And so we can't listen to those voices, those discouraging, lying spirits. We have to trust that he will bring us in. And some of us, even though we're repentant believers in Yeshua, we're not real confident in his love because we've had bad things happen to us. They had bad things happen to them. Those bad things happened to them, getting bitten by snakes and the fire among the camp and consuming people and the ground opening up and destroying the company of Korah and all this. They couldn't get through their brain that this is because of their sin, because of the rebellion against Yahweh. They're facing all these consequences, and so they're just caught up in this belief that Yahweh hates them, and so if he destroyed all those people in the wilderness, why wouldn't he destroy us, when they go into the land? And so they didn't trust in Yahweh. And then, all right, so you're not going in, he says. You're not going to go in the land. They're like, well, we're sorry. Yeah, we'll go up. We'll fight. He's like, well, Yahweh's not with you, so don't bother. And they went anyway. So their heart of rebellion was still there. It's like you can lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink. Well, you can lead someone to fountain of living waters, but you can't make them drink. They have to want that. They have to desire that for themselves. And so we try to lead people in the paths of righteousness, but they have to want to walk in it, right? And we have to want to walk in it, He's trying to lead us there. And so I think that's our lesson here for us. And the same thing happened, really, in the second, when they went back. There were some that did not go back. He said, go back to Israel, go back to your homeland. And some just stayed in Babylon. And I think that's kind of how Esther got in trouble. Mordecai got in trouble. I don't know what their circumstances were. Maybe they couldn't go. But, he's like, come on back. They didn't. But Yahweh was, still work with them as they walk by faith. So the day will come when that land called Israel, everyone's fighting over right now, it's our land. And we can trust in these promises that if we put our trust in Messiah Yeshua for forgiveness of sin and we turn away from sin, he will bring us the promised land. And so we have boldness in the day of judgment. Boldness in the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world, because Yeshua lives in us. So praise Yahweh. Now, for those just joining us, we were able to see the new moon in Jerusalem. Pictures and confirmations there. So it should be visible pretty much everywhere in the world, except maybe Central Europe and Northern Europe and Central China, Northern China. As far as new moon reports here, I don't have anything at this moment. I can check my email to see if anything came in. And last time I did get the reports. I appreciate y'all sending those in, but my email program had an issue and I couldn't get those. So I didn't get the reports last time. So okay, a new moon is spotted in Western Grove, Arkansas. Greg Carvalaro and his family, and he also sent a photograph of that. Through some trees and clouds, he was able to spot the new moon there in Arkansas. He has a family, and so we know there have been multiple witnesses there. So that is a confirmed sighting out of Arkansas. I'll check some other places here. Anything else may have come through. Yep, everyone's seeing snow and rain, but that part of Arkansas he was able to see. Okay, we've got also sightings in Perth, Puerto Rico, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas. 4 people in Perth, Australia. They saw it in Australia. We can be really sure we'll see it here. 2 persons in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and then 1 person in Sand Springs, Oklahoma, 3 persons in Ponce, Puerto Rico, 2 persons in Arlington, Texas. And then we've got our own Greg Carvalaro sending in his report, his family there in Western Grove, Arkansas, and of course the photograph there in Israel as well. So welcome to the 11th month of Yahweh's calendar. Hope that this month is a blessing for you, and we'll be looking forward to Shabbat broadcast tomorrow at noon Eastern Time. Until then, Shabbat Shalom to your homes.